Well, good morning. My name is Mike DiGiacomo. I'm President and CEO of BBB Greater Maryland. In collaboration with my colleagues and businesses across the United States and Canada, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the AI Advantage, how small businesses can work smarter, not harder. This session is designed to provide practical, easy to understand guidance on how small businesses can use artificial intelligence to save time, boost productivity, and remain competitive without needing to be a tech expert. The webinar will focus on real world applications that you can begin using immediately. Our guest speaker for this session is Jonathan Liebert, CEO of BBB Southern Colorado. Jonathan?
All right, well, thank you, and happy to be here, everybody. We're going to have a lot of good conversation here, I think, and I'm going to move fast. So, a couple of rules of engagement so you all kind of know. We're going to do questions in the chat. So, as I'm talking, go ahead and write some questions in the chat. Somebody from our team will answer those questions. There may be some questions too that might be really good for the group to kind of have some conversation and some discussion. So we might save a couple of those for the end. So we'll go about 45, 50 minutes or so, and then we are going to kind of stop and pause at the very, very end to have more of that conversation and dialogue about the different topic of conversation of today, which is all things AI. So I'm going to go ahead and get rolling here. Hopefully everybody can see my slides okay. But this is a series of classes that were developed specifically for small businesses by the Better Business Bureau. And so, as the Better Business Bureau, we want to make sure that you are up to date and up to speed on all the new AI things that are out there. And this happens to be updated all the time. So, as you know, there's lots of things going on in the world of AI. There's lots of things for you to know. And so, really, I'm going to talk about three main big areas, and I'm going to go quick. So, hopefully, you'll get some good information out of it. Again, put those questions in the chat, and then we'll save some questions for the end as well. As Mike already mentioned, I'm Jonathan Liebert. I'm the CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado. And what's great about BBB is that we all work together. So we're working together to bring this good information to you. And we want to make sure that there's good information out there because, again, this stuff changes so fast. There's so much. And we're just going to go ahead and jump in right now. So the first thing to kind of talk about is this, is that most people are focusing on the question on the left of how do I use AI? And today, that's what we're going to talk about. How can you use AI? How can you use AI to really make your business better, to help you be more strategic, to help you write better emails, all those different types of things. But I like telling people that it's also important that you learn how to think with AI. Those are two sides of the same coin. In another life, I was a psychologist, so this is just kind of how my brain works. I'm trying to think about how AI is working with me, how I can work with it, and really making sure that we're on the same page, right? So both of these things are important. I actually wrote a book called Thought Partner. This just came out in December, where it talks about more of how to think with AI. And that's really important that you understand how this works and how this can help you because the piece of how it's going to be used, that's going to change every single day. So you want to do both, but at the same time, know that there are two things you got to do. That book is right there at aithoughtpartner.co if you're interested in checking that out. But again, we're not going to talk a whole lot about how to think with AI in this presentation. We're going to talk a lot about how to use AI. First things first, here are some top priorities for you and for your business. There are more than this, but this is just to kind of get us started with how you need to think about what you got to work on this year in your business. First of all, you got to train your entire team. You don't want to just train one person or have one person who's in charge of your AI strategic planning. That's not how this technology works. It's customized for you. It's customized for your brain, for your learning style, for your job description. So you got to train your entire team on how to use this stuff. Second of all, you got to have an ongoing AI literacy plan. This stuff changes quick. The slides that I'm presenting with you today, I change 2 to 3 times a week. So that's how fast this is going. So what's your plan? A one and done scenario for an AI class once a year is not going to cut it. You got to be having at least one class a month, I would recommend. And again, what does that look like for your team? And how do you make sure that you're holding people accountable to this? But also, how are you helping them grow? How are you helping them answer questions and learn? This is really important stuff. Third, you need an AI policy. If you already have an AI policy, you need to update that policy. This stuff changes quickly, as I've mentioned, and so you want to make sure that you're training people well on what to use it for, what not to use it for, and how that works nicely for your organization. I'll talk more about this in this presentation today, but you need to make your website AI ready. There's something called AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. It is similar but different from SEO, search engine optimization. And if AI agents can't find you online, your business doesn't exist. So we're going to talk about that specifically today. Next one up is here is build your AI tech stack. What is it? How do you use it? If you're just using ChatGPT, awesome, but you might be wanting to use 6 to 8 to 10 different AI tools in a day. That's where a lot of people are at that are using this very, very well, that are very fluent at it. How do you automate workflows? We'll talk more about that. And again, as I mentioned about that book, is that, how do you learn to think with AI? This is really important. And as we're moving through this process of thinking with AI, this is how you can kind of think about it as well. Step one, this is what most people talk about. How do you use AI as a tool? And if you use AI as a tool, this will help you do more tasks and complete things better. Absolutely the case. But what's interesting about using AI as a tool, where this is more than a tool, is that tools don't learn. Tools don't get smarter. Tools don't necessarily get customized the way they do to your learning style and how you use it. So it's more than a tool. So if you're using it as just a tool, that's fine, but that's kind of step one. That kind of grows into step two. AI is an operating system. This should be your default system for tasks right now. As an example, I'm in AI tools for about 95% of my workday. My tech stack is pretty much all AI at this point. I'm just using my email to kind of send final product out there, kind of ship it off, and then enter some things into some CRM systems. But for the most part, AI is my daily operating system. This year, you probably will see some AI operating systems pop up as well. So LLM systems that are kind of taking over the tasks of your computer. There's some great stuff out there already from Claude. It's called Cowork. Pretty amazing. So you're starting to see more of this as an everyday operating system. But right now, you can kind of use AI as your operating system to do all your work. But you got to have a good tech stack. You got to have an AI use policy and keep getting some education on this. And then the final piece is this: is using AI as a thought partner. You should be using AI to be strategic, to think. You should have it challenge your assumption, expand your ideas, be more creative. It loves talking about leadership, strategic information. It loves kind of pricing information out, learning new things, doing data and research for you. So you should be using it for that as well. So the three topics today overall, this is topic number one. We're talking about why AI is already disrupting businesses. And so this is something that's important for all of us to know because there's a lot of change that's happening right now. Some of it's awesome and exciting. Some of it is not great. Some of it's a little bit spooky. And so we're going to really kind of talk a little bit about both of those things. There are absolutely ethical concerns and considerations that we all need to kind of have. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are using AI well. So I love this quote from the CEO of Google talking about how AI is some of the most profound technology that we as a species have ever worked on. And I think it's important to think of it that way. And again, there's always new technology that we're working on, that we're always developing. This one is extremely profound. But at the same time, there's also some perils that come with this, right? So every time that there's some technology that we invent, there are 30 to 300 different ways that people can use it to create some negative things. So there's a lot of negative things happening right now out there on the internet, whether it's scammers or just slop or copyright infringement. There's a lot of stuff that's being used negatively for this. But this technology is also extremely powerful. It can do a lot of things. And again, it's up to us in terms of the choice of what we use it for. So my hope is that we get more people like you, good people that are small business owners that are using this technology to help you grow and to help you, provide more strategic value to your customers. For people that are not using AI, it's going to be a problem in a couple of years, if not sooner. But here's another way to think of this, right? This is a civilization level upgrade. I think that's the best way to kind of say what we're talking about, what we're working with right now. There are a lot of, like I said, exciting things that AI is going to create. It's already creating a lot. There'll be some issues with this, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. They're going to make your business more profound and help your business be more successful. And so, how do you use these tools? I also like telling people a little bit of the history on this as well, right? So AI has been around since the 1950s. So this is not necessarily new technology. But the technology that we're talking about today and that everybody else is talking about that got everybody's attention is something called generative AI or large language models. And so those are the things that are really kind of out there that are capturing the world's attention and really making us think different about how we're utilizing AI in our business, but also making sure that we're taking advantage of this very, very powerful technology. And so I like telling people there's kind of these, I like this map that NVIDIA came up with. NVIDIA, for those of you who don't know, this is the chip manufacturer. This is, if not the most valuable company in the world. It kind of fluctuates, but they are doing very well right now with what they're doing. So they are the ones providing the chips that kind of go with this AI product. But they kind of talk about these four stages, which I think it's helpful for all of us to really kind of understand so we can really conceptualize how this works. But phase one is perception AI. Perception AI, you can think of that as Alexa and Siri, some of the early generation models. Not great, worked, but not really well. They're getting major upgrades right now. Interestingly enough, Apple just did a deal with Google, paid them $1 billion to have them upgrade Siri, so it could be more, AI focused in the sense of providing some better information. Next on this list is generative AI. I think this is probably what we are all using or have used, hopefully, on folks online today. This is where you can create content. You plug something into an LLM and it spits out some amazing information back to you. It's incredible and it's getting better every single day. A little bit of bad news on this, though, is if you're just focusing on the generative AI, that's kind of old news, folks. That's really 2024 stuff, right? The new stuff, the good stuff, is agentic AI, and we're going to talk a lot about this today as well. Well, this is the future of this technology. It is agentic, and so agentic AI is really this. Generative AI is where you create content and information, and then you have to do something with it. So AI, you put something into AI, it spits it back out. Then you got to go and do something with that. Agentic AI is similar in the sense where you prompt it, you tell it what to do, but then it goes and it does the task for you. And this stuff is incredible. So think of it this way. Anything that you can do on a computer or on the internet, AI can probably do it better than you in the cases where it is working. But for most tasks online, AI is able to go and it can do it. It can complete the task. So this is very different versus letting AI run with it, then you do something versus you give AI a command, it goes and it does it for you. It's sending emails on your behalf. It's buying things for you. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to come back to this in a little bit, but agentic AI is the future of all of this. And then the final piece is physical AI. The humanoids are coming. They're already here. You're going to start to see a whole lot of these this year specifically, but then into the next. And so in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of these humanoids. You might even have one in your home. Some people I talk to are, that's awesome. And some people will say that that's terrifying. So feel free this is your first fun exercise in the chat. Tell us what you think. Yes, you would love to have a robot in your home that does the cooking and the cleaning and it walks the dog. Or no, you're absolutely terrified and you don't want that thing in there, especially while you're sleeping, because you've seen the movies and you know how this ends. So put that in the chat if you'd like to discuss it. I get 50-50 reviews on that of people that want that, people that do not want that at all. So next up here, we have some of the most popular types of chatbots. And I tell everybody too, like you got to pick some that are like for your everyday use. You might use all of these. There might be one that's your favorite. And this is the next thing, if you wouldn't mind doing this in the chat. Tell us what you're using. Are you using ChatGPT along with Claude? Are you using Microsoft with a little bit of Perplexity? Tell us what you're using and let us know in the chat what tools that you really enjoy working with and which tools you think have a lot of impact on your business. But at the end of the day, what I like telling people is this as well. It's important that you know you should be using the paid version of these. The paid versions are better. There's less hallucinations. You get more tokens. That's the currency that they use to let you run prompts. It's going to be, like I said, more accurate, and you're going to be using the more powerful tools. So while free is great in that sense, it's also taking your information and that's using it to train the models. So again, for 20 bucks a month or maybe a little bit more, depending on which one you're going to go with, it is absolutely worth it. The difference in terms of how these work from the pay versus the free is fairly significant. So you just need to know that that is the case. Quick fun fact for you in terms of AI use overall. So for all the tools on like a weekly basis of AI, there's about 2.4 billion users. ChatGPT is definitely the one that most people are using. For small businesses, it makes a lot of sense for you to use. And again, for chat, they're the most popular. They're at about 900 million users. And so what's interesting about this, though, is that only 5% of those 900 million users are paid. So you got to think of it this way. If you're not using AI, you're at a disadvantage. If you're using free AI, that's better than using it or not using it at all. But if you're using the paid version, that's another competitive advantage over the people that have the free versions or that are not using it at all. So that's how you need to start thinking about these tools is making sure that you're using it well and that you're using it for a lot of things. You can do a lot of stuff already. So we'll talk some more about that in this presentation. This is just an example of the progressive system that OpenAI has come up with in terms of how they want to make sure that they're using chat. So this is what they're building right now. So I mentioned earlier generative AI, so 2024 folks. Well, this is what I'm getting at here. So when ChatGPT came out, that was goal number one. They've created it. They're going to keep making it better. Next up, 2025, this was last year, agentic AI, where these agentic AI tools started coming out. So you could do a lot of cool things using AI to help you. This year, this is multi-agentic AI. This is where you have multiple agents working together in a collaborative system. If you don't know how to use them or build them or work with them or give them commands and supervise them, much like humans, your business is going to struggle or it'll be extremely successful because you've got more help from things that are extremely intelligent and very cost effective. Beyond that, what we don't know is the dates, but we do know that OpenAI is trying to create departmental AI, where AI is embedded across an entire team and their workflows. And then the final piece is organizational AI, where AI is doing the work of an organization. I'm not saying this is good nor bad. I'm just kind of pointing out that this is what OpenAI is trying to accomplish, and everybody else for that matter. And so this is kind of where it's going. And this timeline, pretty quick, right? So just kind of know the more you learn, the more you understand how AI works, the better. The other thing I like telling businesses is this, is that the US economy is all in on AI. Like it's done. We're already there. So right now you got seven companies that are really kind of propping up the entire system. And they're sending a lot of money back and forth to each other. And this is a map that Bloomberg came out and it shows you how this works and how the money's flowing. And again, not everybody's making money. So for every dollar OpenAI makes right now, they're losing three. So if they give it kind of like an Amazon product, right? But it will make money. And that's where all the hype's coming in, where people are putting a lot of money into these companies to make sure that they are investing in things the correct way. And again, this stuff is not going away, is the point. Stock markets all in, U.S. economy all in. This has to work. This has to be successful. And so again, for what you need to know and take away from this is that there's significant amount of investment going on, good and bad, right? Depending on how you look at it, but it's not going away. Just as an aside, this is another fun fact for you. In terms of investment capital that's going into AI companies, people are spending $10 billion a week. That's correct. $10 billion a week is what's being spent on AI from investment capital. So this is not going away. So again, you got to learn how to use this. You got to make sure that you're paying attention to this. In the center there, you see NVIDIA, 4.5 trillion on this map. They hit 5 trillion not too long ago. First company to do that. I was perusing the internet and Instagram the other day, and I saw this. This is kind of funny, but also, I guess, kind of accurate. So, no pressure, NVIDIA. Keep being Atlas and holding up that economy for the rest of us. The other way you need to think about this in terms of AI is that this is the fourth industrial revolution, right? And with this industrial revolution, this is an opportunity for massive change and massive success, or some issues that are going to come with it. So with the past three industrial revolutions, there was advancements in technology. It also created a lot of issues. And so we need to adapt, and we need to adapt quickly on this. A lot of people are saying, and I believe this as well, this AI revolution will probably surpass in terms of significance the last three industrial revolutions. And what's really interesting about this is that there's a couple things here. First of all, I want you to take a look at this map on the left. Find your county on there if you can. And what this is telling us is data from last year. But again, it gives you a little bit of a cheat sheet in terms of who's using AI and who's not. And so if it's a light blue area, the generative AI exposure is low. If it's a dark blue area, generative AI exposure is high. Either way, you can't get away from you got to use this tool, folks. That's just just the case. But if it's light blue, you might have a little bit of extra time before the people around you start using it. If you are an area that is dark blue, though, you got to go like yesterday in terms of using these tools and plugging it into your business. The next thing to kind of talk about that's important on this chart is AI is going to disrupt jobs. Is it going to take away all jobs? No, not necessarily. Will it take some? Perhaps. But again, people keep kind of talking about this scary thing that's going to come taking everything. Will it mess with jobs? Absolutely. And so we need to go into this eyes wide open. And so this data here says 30% of all workers could see at least 50% of their occupations being disrupted. I think that that is conservative. Looking at a lot of other reports recently in the last couple of weeks, I would say the safer bet is to just think of it this way. AI is going to disrupt 100% of jobs to 30 to 50%, right? Some will be higher than others. But again, as you all know, because you're all entrepreneurs, this means opportunity, right? So how do you use this technology to provide more opportunity for yourself? This is major disruption, but it also means there's a lot of opportunity for you to move and go fast and use this technology well to grab market share from competitors. And so, like anything else, you got to make sure that you're thinking about how this works. The other thing that you probably heard people talk about too is like, don't be worried about AI taking jobs and your job necessarily. Be worried about the humans sitting next to you that know AI better than you taking your job. Or make sure that you are using AI well in your business because the businesses that have really good AI tools and good agents, they're going to be the ones taking business away from you. So make sure you're using it well and make sure you're moving quickly and keep learning and adapting on this stuff. The second thing for everybody to know is this: unlike previous automation technologies and other industrial revolutions, that went after blue collar workers first and kind of stayed there. What's unique about AI is it goes after cognitive tasks. And so it's going to go after white collar jobs first in terms of disruption. So if you're not using AI, you're probably going to be in trouble. If you're using AI and keeping up with it, like you'll be fine. But again, you got to make sure that you have that AI literacy plan of keeping everything kind of up to speed for yourself. This next slide, I would definitely take a picture of. This is your nice, handy little cheat sheet. I get this question a lot, Jonathan. What are the tools I should be using? Well, the short answer is that it really does depend. So this is not the tools for everybody. I would say these are tools that I have used and I know other small businesses are using. And so this gives you a really good starting point of some examples of tools they're going to be safe to use that you should kind of play around with. Please do not use tools from China. Yes, they're good. Yes, I know they're free, but they are taking your information and your data. But this kind of gives you a bit of a leveling chart of what tools you should be using. On that S tier there, those are foundational. Those are tools that everybody must use. And these are, again, like I said, the operating systems of the future. So ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are the three big ones. Again, you got to decide what works for you. Most businesses I talk to are using ChatGPT, but Claude is really doing some phenomenal things. So is Gemini. But my point is this: I use all three of them, but I'm only paying for one. So you might pay for all three. If that works for you, great. If you're just paying for one and using some of the other things for free, that's fine too. But I would pick at least one of those things and use it, or pay for it rather, and then use the other three as you need it. But you should pick one everyday AI tool that will help you really complete tasks. This next tier, and by the way, I'm not going to go through all of these. So as you take a picture, load it into ChatGPT or some other AI and ask it what all these logos are, and it will tell you what they are. So that's what's nice about AI is you can take a picture and it will give you all the information and tell you how you should incorporate this into your business. But with the A tiers, if you're not using Google's Notebook LM to learn, you got to be using it. It's phenomenal. If we have time later on, I'll do a quick demo for that. But Notebook LM is amazing. You can take a document, PDF, and you can turn it into a podcast, slides, infographics, videos. You can do quizzes, mind maps. I mean, you can do everything. This is how I'm learning a lot about AI is I'm just throwing it into Notebook LM and I'm using the free version. Next up there is Perplexity. And then that third icon there is Perplexity Comet. Just know that there are agentic AI web browsers that are here, and you need to learn how to use them. And that means you need to learn how to resurf the internet, basically. And then right there is Copilot. So again, some other good ones that are being used by a lot of people. These B tiers, it depends. That big G is Gamma. That's Google's product. You can make slides. The banana is Nano Banana for image generation. It sits in Gemini, amazing. Canvas for marketing. There's some note takers. That little cloud with eyeballs is Sora. That's how you generate videos, which I would highly recommend. You play around with that stuff as well. So get good at prompting. I think that's just another thing for folks to know is that the better you are at prompting, the better it's just going to be just in general. And so that's really what you want to make sure that you're doing. And then that F tier, sorry, Apple. Hopefully, hopefully they get it together and move quickly. They do have Apple Intelligence, but it's not great, and they seem to be a little bit behind. But there are thousands of tools. These are just some that it might be a good place to get you started. Depends on what you're doing, and it's also about really making sure that you play around with this stuff and play around with it so that you can really get good information going for how you use it in your business. I want to talk really quickly about how smart this stuff is as well. So this is an IQ chart. In the middle there, you can see is 100. The average human intelligence is 100 to 110. Genius level starts to hit that 140 mark. And just for context, Einstein was 160. So as you can see, this is December 2024, where AI is at just a year ago to the left of the 100 mark. And then now as you move forward, this is where it hit in April of 2025. And then I think I have January in here. Oh, December. So December, you can see you've got stuff kind of moving all over the place. What's interesting here as well is that ChatGPT on this chart is clocking in at around 120 to 130. I've seen other studies where ChatGPT 5.2 is clocking in at about 138 to 142. So that's significant, and it's important that you know this. Is that one side, on one hand, like this is awesome. On the other hand, this is kind of terrifying, but because AI is already smarter than all my friends, and at the same time, what you'll probably see by the end of the year is an AI tool that is smarter than the smartest human. That is both awesome and terrifying, as I said. But at the same time, this is a tool that you can use for free. Wouldn't recommend the free, would recommend the paid. But for 20 bucks a month, you've got this type of thinking in your pocket that's significantly profound and important. And so make sure that you're taking advantage of that. Because this technology is so smart and is moving so quickly, this is going to create some productivity issues in your office. This is why everybody needs to be using AI tools and you need to be training all of your people together. If you just kind of turn people loose and some people use it and some people don't, you're going to have major cultural issues because there's going to be an imbalance. It's already started. So from last year, when everybody really kind of started using these LLMs, productivity went up about 40% for AI users. Projected increase 400% by 2030 from Deloitte. I think that's wrong. I think we'll hit 400% productivity sooner than 2030. And then on the right, you've got Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, saying that we could see productivity growth at 30% per year moving forward. And how do you measure that? I mean, that's crazy, right? And so this is what I'm saying when you're going to have productivity gaps in your workforce. And so you got to make sure everybody's kind of being trained together versus the people that know how to use AI and then people that don't. You're going to have some issues. You're going to create cultural issues. You might have some great productivity and some things happening, but you need to make sure you're bringing your entire team along. Just for some context, if you are really using AI well, bottom left-hand side, you can see here that green box, 11.4 if you're AI fluent. And this is people that are using AI, I would say probably hourly. When I ask people this question of are you using it monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, and we do hand raising, I'll skip to the end. Everybody should be raising their hand for I use it hourly. That's where we're at right now. It's no longer just once a day or once a week. You got to be using this stuff hourly, right? Build out your operating system. But they're at about 11 hours saved a week. AI literate, that's more daily, 8.9, and then familiar with it, maybe a couple times a week or something. But even that's probably pushing it. It's probably still more daily in that 6.3. But again, you should be saving some time, and saving time is a good thing, right? Because that's how you kind of get control back and really make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on in your businesses. And in the world of AI, there are haves and have-nots. I think we're familiar with that concept, but I want to take it a step further. The new haves in this world of AI is my employer has trained me on how to use AI. Those are the new haves. The have-nots, my employer has not trained me on how to use AI. You got to bring people along. You got to make sure you're helping them out. You got to make sure that you have a strategic plan on how to incorporate AI learning into your team, or you will fall behind. Falling behind in this is not a good thing because we've never seen anything quite like this. And again, tools are amazing. They're awesome and terrifying depending on what you're using them for, but it's not going away. So you got to really make sure that you're using it at a high level. Let's talk about point number two on this PowerPoint is the future is agentic. Agentic AI, that's where it's all at. So I mentioned it really in my opening remarks, but let's dig into this a little bit deeper right now. So think of it this way in terms of a brain. Your traditional AI, that stuff that's been around since the 50s, machine learning, deep learning, it's all good stuff. That helps, fill up the brain by about, a quarter in terms of what it can do to help augment human cognition. Generative AI, really huge leap forward, right? That is going to fill three-quarters of the brain in terms of what it can do and how we can use it to make our lives a little bit easier. But then agentic AI, this is the dream, this is the plan. That's where it's using the full brain because it's able to do things, to think, to strategize, to reason, and then carry out specific tasks. For BBB here in Colorado Springs, we have somebody called Ben. He is my business engagement navigator. Usually I do a demo, but probably online it would be hard to do that. But bottom line, Ben is a voice agent. Ben is something that we paid somebody to develop this for us. And this voice agent goes and it calls people in my market. It can answer questions. He can take phone calls, text messages, and also send emails. And so, whether you want a voice agent or just agentic AI that's built into your website or built into your processes, you got to have something like this. And so while we have one now, by the end of the year, we'll probably have several. So again, our foray into this is last year we built Ben as our agentic AI voice agent. This year we'll probably have 5 to 6 of these agents doing different tasks, maybe doing social media, definitely calling people, taking phone calls, processing information and data, and helping us out. So this is just one example of kind of how these tools work. The other thing that you all need to be familiar with is that AI is really changing the way people shop. So this is big news, although nobody's talking about it, which is wild to me. Um, but you just need to know that ChatGPT and Gemini have done deals with top retailers to launch instant checkout features. So Walmart, Target, Shopify, Etsy's on there, and several others. I mean, it's pretty amazing at the information that's in here. And so what's wild about this is that you can go buy things inside ChatGPT right now. And so I do want to give a quick demo. So I'm going to switch to another screen here. I'm going to go into my ChatGPT and then I'm going to do a reshare. And let me show you what we're looking at here. So here's what I'm getting at in terms of how this works. So there are agentic AI tools. Let me do screen share. There's agentic AI tools that are already built into ChatGPT and others as well, but definitely ChatGPT and Gemini. So over here, if you come into apps, on chat, you'll see that there are a ton of things you can connect with. And I come in here now every other day or so, and they're adding more. So they just added like 1-800 flowers. So you can buy flowers through ChatGPT. You can connect to Adobe Photoshop, and it will mess with images for you. You can build playlists in Apple Music. You can buy a car now at Auto Trader. You can come in here and connect to Canva and build flyers and marketing information. So again, look at all this stuff. DoorDash, you can order food through ChatGPT because it's connected to your account on DoorDash. And so you can connect to Gmail, you can connect to Outlook. This will send emails for you all through ChatGPT. There's new stuff on here I haven't even seen. That's interesting, that Khan Academy, and on and on and on and on. But bottom line is this: if you connect to, let's say, TripAdvisor, you can have it book hotels for you. You can have it plan an itinerary for you. If you connect through Target, you can buy things online at Target through ChatGPT. So this is significant. This is really big news in terms of how this stuff works because people are going to shop differently. And so again, as business owners, let me get back to my other screen here. As business owners, this is important that you know this. This is important that you're aware that you can now do instant checkout through ChatGPT. For small businesses, how do we take advantage of this? We need to pay attention to what the big dogs are doing right now at the moment. More to come on that, but just know that people are buying things online. And so you need to think of it this way. There is now an agent-based economy where people are buying and selling things. This isn't 10 years down the road. This is happening now. And so because businesses that are integrated more into these AI tools and people are buying through them, this agent economy has begun. And so what this means is this: humans are going to ask agents to shop for them. How do you incorporate this into your website, into your thinking, into your strategy? Users have a request, it goes to the agent, and then it's going to just buy it for them. So you're not even necessarily going to go to a website. And what's interesting is that we see this happening now as humans may not visit websites anymore, agents will. That doesn't mean that your website's not important. Your website's more important than ever. I'm going to talk about that as we wrap things up here in a second. But you need to know that you have two customers now. You have the human customers that are going to come to your website and engage. And then you have AI agents that are going to come to your website and engage with you. And so you need to really make sure that you're doing and building your website out for both SEO for humans, AEO for agents. We'll wrap up with that. But humans are asking agents to shop for them. What's wild is that I've seen data out there that says that we may not see a whole lot of humans on the web anymore by the end of 2027. It'll be agents online. So again, websites more important than ever. You still need your website, but at the same time, you have agents that are shopping, not just humans. And so agents are actually going to go and buy things, not just bring you recommendations. That's generative AI, brings you recommendations. Agents, they will buy things for you. They will plan things for you. They will make things happen. So again, if an agent cannot access your business, you don't exist in this new economy. So you got to make sure that you're changing and thinking different about how your website is working. And this is the final topic we're going to talk about here. SEO versus AEO, search engine optimization versus engine optimization. That's how you need to think about this. So we've already kind of heard that AI is messing with search, right? Marketing's trying to catch up. AI's threat to Google just got real. Google is absolutely hitting back. They just updated a lot of things in search last weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend before. And so we'll see. But again, at the same time, AEO is a word that you need to be familiar with. So again, this is engine optimization. This is how you can optimize your website for AI. You want those AI bots checking out your website. This is a good thing. Mark Gartner Marketing tells us that by 2028, brands are going to see a decrease by 50% in terms of just search, in terms of traditional search. Last year, it was like 30%. So it might be 50%. Google could reverse it. We'll see. Either way, people now have options, right? But the number one thing people are using different types of AI tools for is to research products and services. They want to find businesses they can trust, and they want to find businesses that are going to respond to them and they can get information as soon as possible. These AI platforms are receiving about 7 billion hits a month. This was like zero 2 years ago. So think about how quickly this has happened, right? The Super Bowl ad reach every single week, which is amazing. If you're capitalizing on that, if your website's not AI powered or AI savvy, then you might be missing out on a ton of business. I'm talking to businesses right now that are saying in November and December they noticed a huge hit to their bottom line because they didn't know what AEO was. And if you're doing a lot of things online, you definitely need to figure this out. Sorry, Google, but this is kind of how you got to think about it a little bit. Google's going to update this. They'll upgrade it, and don't worry, Google will be fine. I know you all were a little concerned. But again, answer engines are much more sophisticated because they give you answers, right? Search is about keyword search. Answers are going to give you answers and information. These things are highly, highly powered by trust and truth. And so trust is the new currency. And so what's really interesting is that as consumers have looked and are trying to find things online with AI, the people that have programmed this also want to make sure that you know that it's trustworthy. So they've hyper programmed the stuff for trust. So BBB accreditation is really one of the most phenomenal things you can do right now that will help you. But any third party platform is really, really good. AI loves authority platforms. It loves people that have been in business for a long time. And so BBB, because we've been around for over 100 years, we're seen as an authority figure. Our website has a lot of text. AI loves text. It's going to recommend information based off of, who you're associated with. BBB is one of the top ones, which is really, really great. So if you're an accredited business already, have that seal up for SEO. This is another thing. If you're an accredited business, this is your AEO kind of hack for the day. Take a picture of this. These are our 8 standards of trust. You would insert your name into this. So Jonathan honestly represents products and services. Jonathan abides by all written agreements, not your name, but your business name. And put this on your website, because what this is telling AI is it's looking at things on your website is that you're accredited, but that you actually love what BBB stands for. These 8 standards of trust are very important. So as AI went out and learned about trustworthy businesses, this is what it took to heart. So it's looking to score people on this. Very interesting stuff. Another slide that might be helpful to take a picture of, SEO versus AEO. This gives you a little bit of different kind of information. Core focus, right? SEO optimizes for higher rank results, right? AEO optimizes content and it wants to provide you direct answers. It's not necessarily about keywords, right? If you look at content structure there, third one down, prioritizes keywords on SEO. On AEO, it emphasizes structured data and FAQ styled content. This is new stuff for you to learn as a business owner and also for your marketing company. You got to do both. This is a hybrid here, folks. So you got to do SEO and AEO. Don't just scrap SEO and do AEO. And by the way, to have good AEO, you can have a solid foundation of SEO. So you want both. Some new terms for you. There's more than this, but again, this is your quick hit on AI stuff for today. Content liquidity. This is the ability for AI to look across lots of different formats and platforms. So you should be blogging and putting things on your website, and then you should have the same thing on social media, in a newsletter, and on and on and on. So it likes looking at that stuff. So again, there's a whole class that we have at BBB in Southern Colorado. I'll leave that link here in the chat later on. There's 6 classes we teach a month. Some of them are in person, some of them are online. But I'll be sure to include that later on, because we really want to make sure that this isn't the only time you're getting some good information. So for AEO, I already mentioned this, getting accredited by BBB. We are one of the top influencers by chat, which is really pretty amazing. ChatGPT loves BBB and it loves third party across the board. They all love third party people talking to people. It's all about trust, folks, in this new economy. You're going to want to learn something called schema markup or have your IT team. This is how AI will come kind of find you via a sitemap. This is just a language that you have embedded behind the scenes on your website that just kind of gives like an index of where things are at. Table of contents is the best way to think of it. But AI loves this because it's easy for it to read and it's easier for it to find things. AI is very busy right now, running around the world, gathering information. Make your website easy for it to find information and data. And then this is the big one. You want to make sure that you've got a lot of good FAQs on your website. And here's the trick for you. So if you've already got FAQs, you have written them for a human. That's fine. Have AI help you rewrite them. Take your FAQs, putting in a chat GPT. When you're doing a good prompt for AI, you want to tell it who the audience is. In this case, the audience is AI. So have AI write FAQs that it's going to want to read for itself. AI is the audience, and then put that on the website. So AI will have something that will be able to answer some of its questions, and it can find good information about what it's looking for as it's searching for things. So as we wrap up here, this is what I hear from businesses a lot. It's like, why does the world feel kind of unsettled right now? It's kind of volatile. There's lots of reasons for that, but there's one in particular that people aren't really talking about. And that is this: we're experiencing the tremors of a collapsing economic era. And so you got to think of it this way. We're moving from the industrial era to the AI era. On the industrial era, lots of labor-driven physical work, manufacturing systems were centralized, a lot of authority and control, and progress was slow and contained. And then this new AI era, it's fast. There's a lot of things that are changing. Systems are now distributed across the internet and across different AI agent networks. And the the value, it's about intelligence-driven information. What can you do with the data? What questions are you asking? How complex can you solve things? And how sophisticated are the algorithms? So just kind of know that that's the case, right? The current volatility of the market, it's not just noise. We're seeing some things move. We're seeing some things change. And we potentially might be have a front row seat for this collapsing economic era onto the next one, right? This happens, this change occurs. But again, we're right in the middle of one now, folks. So that's why things are moving as quick as they are. Again, there's some great things that are going to happen with this with these tools. There's also some very interesting things that are going to happen with these tools. And so we just need to make sure that we continue to pay attention to this stuff, get good educations, or get education on this, and continually get more and more literate on AI tools because, like I said, this stuff changes a lot. So I'm going to stop there, and we have some time for questions. I'm also going to build into the chat some classes, a link that you can take to check out some of the classes from BBB. Like I said, there's a lot of them on here that are in person, but there's also a whole bunch of them that are going to be. I'm going to make sure I can find the chat here. Okay. Um, if you guys could put that in the chat, that'd be great. Looks like I don't have access to that. But yeah, we do have a lot of things that are virtual as well. So, what questions do we want to dig into? Let's take a look here.
I can read some out loud for you. We had a lot of questions come through,
Okay.
and I think a great place to start would be some people were asking for specific AI tools for their industries. A question from Christopher. He runs a professional cleaning and organization business. So what platform is a good, recording kind of platform for consultations between them and their clients that can transcribe and help with suggestions?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of tools that are out there now. I think the one that most people use, because you can get a free version of it, is Otter, OTT, like the animal, ER. And there's several tools out there that will record. There's also devices now that are showing up. So there's a company out there called Plaud, Plaud, that has a device that goes like on the back of your phone. There's a pin you can wear too, where it records conversations and it transcribes. I'm also starting to see a lot of AI pens. I don't have one, but a pen where you would just click the button, it'll record to your phone, and then it will take that information, and then you would connect it to like your Chat GPT account, and then it will turn it into useful information that you can use. So there's a lot of tools out there now. Have your AI do some research for you, right? In terms of what you're looking for. Do you want a device? Do you want a pen? Do you just want to use your phone? You just turn your phone on, but there's a lot of tools out there now, and they're really, really good. The technology on those is pretty phenomenal, actually. But yeah, some things to think about for sure.
All right. And how about an AI tool that would be, recommended maybe for a medical practice? They're looking to do some research. Would you recommend one or over the other, or maybe testing a
Yeah.
few out?
Yeah, so healthcare is an interesting one for sure, right? There are a couple of different industries that are going to get hit with AI faster than others. Healthcare, legal, and then education. So there's a ton of change. There's a lot of things going on with all these different areas for sure. And what's interesting about healthcare specifically, it's kind of like three levels of AI in terms of how it works, in your office. There's the tough one, right? At the taller level, your CRM, highly regulated, got to have protected health information in there. Don't want to have just anything in there like that. So there are people that are actually getting their own LLMs, where they've got their own LLM for their office, and they're putting information in there and keep it safe because it's in their own little sandbox. But in terms of just kind of data and research from a healthcare perspective, there's a lot of really good tools that are out there. I mean, obviously, you're not putting protected health information in there. You're just kind of doing some research. AI is really, really good at diagnosing as well. Chat GPT is going to be coming out with something called AI health for us, and then AI healthcare for providers. And so you're going to be able to connect your medical record to Chat GPT and to your wearables and all kinds of fascinating things. So there's a lot to come on that. But just on research in general, you want to be using something called deep research or deep learning. They kind of each company calls it something different. ChatGPT has been the organization that has kind of had the crown on deep research up until recently. Google just dumped a lot of money into their platform. I think theirs is called deep learning, and it sounds like that is the best research tool that's on the market right now. But again, ChatGPT's pretty phenomenal as well. Let me show you where you can find it really quickly, just in case you haven't used deep research yet. Deep research is phenomenal. I use it all the time. So inside of this, if you were to ask a prompt and ask it, for research on something, you're going to hit this plus arrow, and then you can see here you have deep research. So you would click this box, and then you would ask your question, and it might take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to pull information together, but it's going to write you like a PhD level abstract and summary. It's going to cite all the data and all the sources. It's going to tell you where you found it, and it's just really, really good to do analyzation on research and data, pricing strategies. I mean, whatever you want to research, use deep research mode. There are definitely some things out there that are specific and specialized for, different industries. Those are more expensive and more customized. But the one in general to kind of get you started playing around with it is the deep research mode in Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. But as of last week, Gemini's is now the most powerful, but ChatGPT's is phenomenal as well.
Great. Just going back through old questions, I saw a few new ones come in, but this one archived was, what's the best resource to find industry-specific AI optimization? This person is a general contractor, as an example. Any resources for AI learning?
No. Yeah. So there's all kinds of stuff out there, that's for sure. And one of the things I would tell everybody here online, which is really kind of cool, is that Google has some really good certification classes. If you are an accredited business throughout the North America, you get access to these Google classes for free. And so you can reach out to Mike or I, depending on where you're at. We'll get you connected. But what's cool about this is that you have access to a whole bunch of different training. Some are 3 to 7 months long. Wouldn't do those. There are some that are 3 to 7 hours long that are going to get you certified in AI prompting, AI essentials. So taking classes is a good thing. Getting certified is even better. Microsoft is coming out with something called Microsoft Elevate. There's lots of universities out there that have like these long training programs that you can do. But again, one of the things that the reasons I'm teaching this is that when I was learning, most of the training out there is for Fortune 500 companies or mid-level companies. And that's still kind of the case. So that's why BBB is taking a step in this direction of making sure we're providing you relevant information for small businesses. But again, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's going to be stuff in your local market too that you can check out. And you really want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. But definitely some good certifications from big companies that you've heard of, Google, Microsoft. There'll be a whole lot more, local universities as well, and then other organizations in your community like the Better Business Bureau. There's a lot of different ways. Take different ones, do stuff for free, see which ones you like, and then kind of go from there.
All right. Earlier in the presentation, you mentioned air gapping. What exactly needs to be air gapped, and are there any resources for air gapping?
I'm not sure what air gapping is. Sorry if I said something that sound like that. So apologies. That might have just been a mispronunciation on my end.
Oh, sorry about that. All right. So how about besides schema, what other backend changes would you make on your website to make sure AI
Yeah.
can find it? Are there any special bots? What can we be aware of?
Yeah, great question. The big one is that there's a new language model. It's called LLM-TXT, which stands for Large Language Model Text. So theoretically, your website should be built out in that. If it's not, I wouldn't recommend rebuilding your whole website. Like, I'm not saying that, but you can have some LLM TXT kind of built in the background on some of the main information that you want AI to really kind of know and understand. So it loves LLM TXT. Also, the schema markup is another big thing, but again, you really got to make sure that you've got everything kind of linked and clicked together. Chatbots are good. They're definitely something to kind of start with to kind of help engage your customer. We're entering an answer economy, meaning whatever business has the best answer, they're going to get the business. People are going to be online all the time, or chatbots might be. In the future, maybe even this year, we'll start to see those chatbots getting major upgrades to where they're more of an agentic AI bot that can have a conversation in real time, not only with humans, but with other AI. So a lot of stuff to be aware on that, but LLM TXT is more of the bigger one. Not necessary yet, but it's going to be soon. So yeah, do some research on that as well.
All right. Someone asked about accreditation. They weren't aware or don't understand what accreditation is. Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so BBB accreditation is something that it's really it's us BBB as a third party coming and taking a look at your business. So, and this is again something that's important for everybody. It is all about trust right now. So we do provide letter grades, but it's also us kind of vetting your company, making sure that you abide by our A standards of trust, and also making sure that there's no kind of odd things going on with your business. And so consumers typically don't have time to do a ton of research, so we do it for them. That's what that trust mark means. That's kind of over me here. But it's the same thing for AI. And so what's really interesting is it's even more important to AI that you have some kind of third party validation. And AI loves multiple, so don't just get one, get others. So customer reviews from Google are going to count as third party verification. Having an accreditation from BBB counts as third party verification. Having awards in your local community counts as third party verification. Being members of the chamber counts as third party verification. What's important for you to know is that you need to put that on your website or put that on your social media so AI can find it. Don't just assume that AI kind of knows what you're doing if you don't have it up. If it's not up there, can't find it, you can't read it, you won't get credit. So get credit for the things that you're doing, but look for these third-party trust marks that are out there, like BBB. It likes all of them. So the more you have, the better. And so a lot of businesses have this, but they just don't put it on their website. You got to put it on your website. Put the board you're on. It'll look and score that. I'm starting to see that AEO is scoring businesses that are giving back to their communities and doing more things from a philanthropic standpoint. That's interesting. Need more research on that. I just have I don't have any data on that, but we got to think different about how AI wants to find what defines as a better business. We got to think about that. So yeah, accreditation is one way to do that because we are third party people, kind of giving a letter grade and valuing your business at based on our 8 standards of trust.
Well, Jonathan, I think we're getting to the top of the hour. Thank you for providing us with your thoughtful insights and practical guidance that can certainly help small businesses navigate these new technologies more effectively. And for those on that are listening, if you'd like to learn more about BBB accreditation, upcoming webinars, training sessions, and network events, please visit bbb.org. Jonathan, thanks for your time, and thanks for everybody listening. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.